Okay, so this video lecture is about the subject cost accounting and control. So for this lesson, we will be focusing on our module number 1. So this is entitled Introduction to Cost Accounting. Okay, for the overview, so in this module, we will discuss about the introduction to the basic concepts in cost accounting. And here you will be learning about these concepts, okay, which are essential also to the understanding of this subject, which is cost accounting and control. So at the end of this module, you will be able to understand the scope and objectives of cost accounting, and you will also be familiarized with the uses of the cost accounting data as well as the recent developments in the field of cost accounting. For our content, so we have three main topics under this module. So we will discuss about the scope of cost accounting, its objectives, and the uses of this data. Okay, so of course, to start with, let us discuss the scope of cost accounting. Okay, so basically, cost accounting is considered to be a recent development which is created, okay, to respond to the needs of the managerial personnel. So basically, this subject or this field specifically addresses the needs of our managers and top management. Okay, because here, this management levels of personnel needs a detailed information about the cost. Okay, specifically for the cost of the production of a good or rendering of a service. Basically, the main purpose or aim, okay, of the management is to maximize the profit. So in the elements, okay, of computing or determining the profit, so the cost is considered to be an item which is controllable and is able to be managed, okay, or it can be avoided when the management has enough data, okay, that they will use in decision making or deciding what costs should be uh, eliminated or avoided, okay, or minimized. So that is how important cost accounting is for the management. So in the initial stages of the evolution of cost accounting, before, when we say cost accounting, what others perceive is that this field is only focused on the accumulation of historical costs. Okay, when we say historical costs, these are the cost of an item when it was initially incurred or initially purchased, initially installed, or constructed. Okay, that is what we mean by historical cost. So before, in the previous times, this is what they perceive, okay, as the function of cost accounting. This is just to accumulate historical cost and to present also these types of data, okay, and of course to uh, the purpose of cost accounting before was also perceived as cost finding or just for product costing. Okay, when we say product costing, this is you how you determine how much was uh, the the cost of an item when it was produced or when a service was rendered. Okay, so this was the initial purpose of cost accounting, but as the time passes by, cost accounting have evolved and developed, and its uses also has become uh, greatly demanded, okay, by the management for cost control and for maximizing the profit, okay, or even in the provision of any uh, performance or reward, I mean, in the performance of a certain division or manager. Okay, so they also use this information if they will give incentives or punish, okay, their personnel or division for their performance based on the cost that they incur. Okay, so that's how cost accounting have evolved, okay, in the uh, years or in as the time passes by. Okay, so we have here the three related terms that is important for you to understand, okay, in this subject or in this field. Okay, so the first term is the cost. Okay, so since we are talking about cost control or cost accounting and control, so what do we mean by cost then? Okay, so in this module, our definition of cost was given by the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants in London. Okay, so according to them, when we say cost, so this is the amount of the actual expenditure that was incurred on a given thing. Or in other words, when we say cost, this is the amount of money or the price that the entity have spent, okay, to produce a good or to render a service. So that is what we mean by cost, meaning how much do they spend or how much do uh, I mean how much cash did they use to produce the product or to render the service. Okay, that is cost for them. That is based on this definition. And also, if you would try to look for another definitions, you would also have the same principle, okay, as this one given by CIMA. Okay, so that is cost. What about costing? Okay, so when we say costing, on the other hand, this definition was also given by CIMA London. So they define it as the ascertainment of costs, meaning costing are the techniques and processes that are used in ascertaining or determining or computing the costs. And also, costing involves studying the principles and rules concerning the determination of cost of the products and the services. Okay, so here when we say costing, this is the process or the techniques that or the tools that can be used in determining the cost. Okay, so later on as we go along with our discussion, you will learn the different costing system, okay, or techniques that can be used and is uh, up that is also appropriate and acceptable. Okay, so that is costing, while cost again is the amount that is spent. Costing is the process of accumulating or determining the costs. What about cost accounting? Okay, so here, when we say cost accounting, this is the method of accounting for cost. Okay, when we say accounting in this context, it means uh, recording of the cost. So how do we record the cost in our books of accounts? Okay, or is a certain transaction or expenditure, is that uh, qualified to be accounted for or recorded for? Okay, so that will be uh, the concern, okay, under cost accounting. So the process, cost accounting also is the process of recording, as mentioned, and or recording and accounting for all the elements of cost. I mean, okay. So cost accounting can also be defined as the process of accounting for cost from the point at which expenditure was incurred or committed to the establishment of its ultimate relationship with cost centers and cost units. When we say cost centers or cost units, this may mean a division in a particular business entity, a segment, or a department. Okay, so how to account for the cost, okay, of these uh, centers or units. So in its widest usage, cost accounting, okay, this it embraces the preparation of the statistical data and also the application of cost control methods, as well as the ascertainment of the profitability of activities carried out or planned. So, if you could see, cost accounting does not only limit itself in the recording and accounting for the elements of cost. So, it can also include how the cost control method was applied, or what are the appropriate cost control methods that could be applied, as well as preparation of statistical data. So this relates to the cost information sheet, okay, that is needed by the management for decision making. Okay, and aside from that, cost accounting can also aid in the ascertainment of the profitability of the activities, because in this case, um, since cost is one of the element that is considered in computing for the profitability, so basically the management can ascertain if indeed a particular activity or product or service is profitable or not. Okay, so that's how cost accounting is being used. Okay, so please be familiarized with these terms. So cost, again, is the amount that was spent for producing a product or rendering of services, while costing, on the other hand, is the process or the methods that is used to determine or accumulate the cost elements. And finally, cost accounting is the process of recording and accounting for the cost elements, okay, as well as the preparation of the financial data related to the cost, application of the cost methods, and ascertaining or determining the profitability of a particular activity. Okay, so those are the three most common and important terms that you should understand, okay, in preparation for studying this subject. So we go now to the nature of cost accounting. Okay, so cost accounting, basically this is a branch of knowledge. Okay, and actually this is a branch of accounting. Okay, so this is considered to be specifically a branch of financial accounting. So this is one of the important branch, okay, of knowledge. So of course this is an organized body of knowledge, meaning there is a process that one has to go through in order for them to create and prepare the financial report related to costs. Okay, so these principles and rules will vary from industry to industry, of course, depending on the nature of the entity. Okay, another is cost accounting is also considered to be a science. Okay, because it involves a systematic knowledge. Okay, relating not only to the cost accounting but also to other subjects such as law. Okay, meaning because in this case, we can relate it to other knowledge. Okay, because cost can also be used, okay, in this different fields. Okay, so in law, office practice and procedures, in data processing, production and material control, okay, and so on. So this is necessary for cost accountants to have a deeper knowledge of all this field of study in order for them to carry out their day-to-day basis. Okay, how do we relate cost with um, or cost accounting with law? Okay, basically here we can relate it because in accounting we use the standards, okay, accounting standards, and these standards are considered to be our law in accounting, in especially in recording, in determining if a certain transactions is recordable or not, and how do we record it, how much of it should be recorded, okay, and so on. Okay, so these are just the example. Okay, another nature of cost accounting is this is also considered to be an art. Okay, because it requires ability and skill on the part of the cost accountants, especially in the application of the principles, the methods, and techniques in cost accounting to different management problems. Okay, so actually in cost accounting we have a lot of formulas that are available, but it is on how the cost accountant should uh, use it, okay, in solving a certain management problem. Okay, so these problems includes, of course, since we are talking about cost accounting, so the ascertainment of cost, the control of cost, how to minimize the costs, and of course, to determine if a certain activity is uh, profitable or not. Okay, so the next nature of cost accounting is this is a profession. Okay, so of course, cost accounting has become one of the important professions and is also considered to be more challenging. So that's why professional bodies, both in developed and developing countries, they are increasing the uh, awareness, okay, of institutes to obtain cost degrees and membership also, okay, in particular professional organizations. In the Philippines, if you are a CPA, you can become a cost accountant. Basically, entities or business entities prefer CPAs with experience, okay, uh, to become their cost accountants. And also, if you are a cost accountant, you can join the professional organization, okay, that is related, and you can also get certifications like certified management accountant, okay, as a title, okay, also to be just uh, equal, but of course a specialized line or area, okay, aside from being a CPA, okay. So that's how cost accounting has become a profession. So those are the different nature of cost accounting. Okay, so what are the scope now of cost accounting? Okay, so here when we say scope, of course, first we will define what the term scope is, but I know that you are already familiar with it. Okay, so when we say scope, this is the field of activity. Okay, so when we apply this to cost accounting, so of course, as mentioned also earlier, when we say cost accounting, this refers to the process of determining the cost of a particular product or activity or service. Okay, so that's why uh, here we can determine the scope of the cost accounting. So it can relate to a particular product or service or activity. So cost accounting, basically it provides useful data, okay, for both internal and external reporting. But most likely the data or the financial reports that we can generate, okay, from cost accounting are mostly used by the management. So it is more of internal reporting than external. Okay. In order that cost accounting satisfies the requirements of both internal and external reporting, we have the following activities that should be undertaken and should be met, okay, for this financial data to become acceptable both for internal and external reporting. But again, talking about cost accounting, the reports here are mostly used by the management for internal reporting purposes for decision making. First is cost determination. So, of course, in accounting, this is the first step. Okay, if you could still remember, or I mean, not the first step, but uh, along with the determination if a certain activity or transaction is recordable or not, cost determination is important in recording. Okay, so here in cost accounting system, cost determination is considered to be the first step. So cost determination refers to, of course, the determination of cost for a specific product or service. So this is a critical activity, since other three activities later on will depend on it. Okay, but here, most importantly, as a cost accountant, you should have the knowledge on how to determine a certain cost. Okay, aside from the cost determination, of course, it follows, okay, because we are talking about accounting here. So, uh, the next priority is how, or if the next priority, I mean, is it recordable or not? Okay, so it will uh, come in to this second activity, which is cost recording. So, cost recording, uh, this is concerned, of course, in recording the cost, okay, in the books of accounts. Okay, so of course we have here the cost journal, and we also have the ledger. Okay, so cost recording may be done according to the integral uh, or integral system, or meaning here a separate set of books will be maintained for cost accounting and for financial transactions. Basically here, this is what we mean earlier, that under cost accounting, the data are mostly used by the management for internal reporting purposes. So that's why in the field of cost accounting, the entity may have a separate books, okay, for the costing and for the financial transactions. Okay, but of course, they have to see to it that at the end of the day, what they record for external reporting purposes, specifically the financial statements, should be in accordance also to their activities incurred internally, and it should not have any uh, error or fraud, okay, that will lead to the misstatements of our financial statements. Okay, so the next activity is cost analyzing. So here, when we say cost analyzing, this is concerned with the critical evaluation of the cost information. So this is done to assist the management, especially in planning and controlling the business activities. Okay, so after uh, determining the cost, we will record it in the books of our accounts, and the cost accountants will generate cost data or information. So this cost data or information will be used by the management for decision making. So this is where cost analyzing comes in. Okay, so how do the management use this data for them to be able to plan, okay, budget, and of course to control the cost for their activities in the next accounting cycle. So the aim of this is of course to minimize the cost so that profit can be maximized. So meaningful cost analysis will depend on the clear understanding, okay, of the cost finding methods that is used in cost accounting. So of course, the accountants here should also make sure that they explain to the management, especially those which do not have a deeper understanding, okay, of this field, so that they can use the data meaningfully, and it can aid them in sound economic decisions. Okay, so the next activity is of course cost reporting. So this is concerned with reporting the cost data now for internal and external reporting purposes. Okay, so in order to use the cost information intelligently, it is necessary for the managers to have a good understanding of the different cost accounting concepts, just like what we have mentioned in cost analyzing. Okay, so here cost reporting is this is when the cost accountants have finally generated their cost accounting reports, okay, to be used for decision making. So actually, if we can rearrange these activities, cost reporting should come first before cost analyzing. Okay, but cost analyzing can also um, uh, go ahead of cost reporting, because in this case, in the actual field, the cost accountant will initially issue the cost reports, and then they will discuss it together with the management. And if the management has any suggestions or any uh, anything, okay, that they want to add, uh, or information that they want to add to it, okay, so after incorporating such data, then a final cost report will be issued, especially for external reporting purposes. But when it comes to internal reporting, it is the fresh report coming from the cost accountants. Okay, so for this video lecture, we will have the discussions until this part right here, and the next part will be discussed in the next video lectures.